you are listening to the OmniTalk Fast Five, brought to you in partnership with the A&M Consumer and Retail Group, Firework, SPS Commerce, and Sezzle.
All right, headline number 2. Schnucks and Instacart are doing smart carts together. According to an Instacart press release just yesterday, the two companies announced their plans to deploy Instacart's Caper Cart. Loyal Fast Five fans will know that Caper Carts automatically identify items as they are added to a cart using computer vision and artificial intelligence, which for short is AI, which allows customers to bag as they shop, skip the line, and seamlessly check out on the cart from anywhere in the store. The Caper Carts will first roll out at select Schnucks St. Louis stores this fall. That was 4 S's in a row for those keeping track. And there's a broader rollout plan later this year following successful initial deployments. Manola, question for you is, why would Schnucks throw Instacart a lifeline like this? What could they possibly be thinking here?
I mean, that's a great question, to be very honest with you. I think they have a focus on kind of staying on the forefront and kind of experimenting and really, honing on and creating that increase or improved consumer experience. For me, question mark on whether this is gonna hit the mark. It seems like a lot of work for not so much payoff from where I'm standing, right? Relatively high investment, in theory could address shrinkage concerns, but can also see people not putting stuff in the cart. What happens, then? And I've seen kind of, granted earlier, not as smart versions of these types of systems try to get rolled out, and it ends up being clunky, right? It puts a lot of work on consumers to kind of do the process, and there's probably lower cost alternatives that are already pretty, well established out there. Self-checkout, with the right parameters to avoid shrink, seems to get the job done. So, I think it's worth experimenting and refining, but I don't think it's something that's going to be, it's not there yet, right? So, but
got it. So you're kind of in the camp of like, this is kind of like they're just dipping their toe in the waters to see like what they've got here. Is there something here? How hard is it for the consumer to adopt these new processes around smart cart shopping? That's essentially your take.
Yeah, I see this as a test and learn, and I'm sure some learnings will come, but it's not something that I think is going to be widely adopted. I don't know that that's their plan, but if I had to guess, looking outside in, I think it's just a test, and what can we learn? What are some takeaways from there? But yeah,
which is important too. Abhinav, what do you think?
Okay, I'm going to put my cynical hat on here.
Yeah, okay. I love your cynical hat. It's your best hat that you wear.
Yes,
I think
exactly.
It fits you the best generally.
So cynical hat. In this day and age, everyone has to do something in technology. Even if they don't need to, they want to or they have to. So Schnucks is trying something, which is great, fine. So that's my cynical hat. And I don't know if you guys seen the Caper Cart?
Yes, we have.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to draw a parallel, which may or may not be true, but it reminded me of Peloton.
Okay.
So here is the connection. Someone described to me Peloton as an exercise bike with iPad bolted on it.
Yes.
This cart is a cart with an iPad bolted on it. Does it mean that it is going to go the same route as Peloton? Well, I guess time will tell.
Yes.
My take on this is similar to Malona's, that the customer experience is going to be a little bit clunky. We'll put a lot of sort of onus on the customer to deal with this. It is technology. They will have to learn a new device to handle these kinds of things. And my view is long-term, the solution is something to do with the phone that the customer already has, knows how to use it. I know of startups that are basically mapping out the whole store, providing a view of the inventory and pricing in a single app. So if you can think of, you have a phone, it tells you, okay, you tell it what you want to shop, it takes you there, gives you the price, you pick it up, maybe you scan it with your phone, and you're done. You don't need a card to do all of that. And so I think that's a long-term play, but that is a little bit expensive to do at the moment in early stages. Maybe this is sort of a stopgap, but again, I personally have not used it. I would like to see what the customer experience actually looks like.
Right, for sure. So you're kind of the mindset like we talked about on the show. Like you can see this could be like fun to test, but you see it potentially being disintermediated in the long term as solutions that require less consumer adoption come into play, say like the systems like a Trigo or an iFi, like we talked about on last week's show. And what do you think though? I think I'm gonna spin this in a very unexpected direction, but go ahead, Ann.
All right. Dave Steck, we need to have a beer. I've got
Dave's laughing already through this whole conversation.
This is what Dave Steck at Schnucks. I got some questions for you. I have no doubt he will answer. Dave, first I want to say, I trust you. I don't understand it, but I trust that you're doing this in the right way. I think they're testing, and Abhinav, you mentioned this, like they are testing this in a couple of different ways. They're not just doing the cart reads automatically to see what you're putting in the basket. And they're also doing it where the consumer is scanning the product and then putting it in the basket. So I like that they're going about this in a few different paths to learn as much as they can. But I have two more questions. Are they going to only have caper carts in the store? Is this like a side-by-side A/B test, or is it just a store with caper tests?
Too big of a risk otherwise.
Carts, right?
Yeah.
And if not, are they doing anything about controlled entry and exit? Like, how is this test going to be controlled? Because I feel like this, even if it was successful, it could get killed. Manola brings up other issues of shrink potentially happening as a result. So I want to know more about the experiment, Dave. So you owe me a beer at grocery shop. That's what I have to say.
Wow. God, these are all really great points. I mean, I'm gonna kind of blow the doors off this conversation a little bit. So I'm gonna make a very grand claim here, which is that I think this announcement, quite honestly, to the three of you, this cements Schnucks as the most innovative grocer in America, in my opinion. You look at you look at what they've been building and this is not a tech flight of fancy. This is not them, if I push back on the point of like they're just trying something in tech. They've been doing smart things around tech for a while, and they've been building basically a smart store that can actually have a good return on investment. That's what they're going for here. You've got ESLs in their store. They've got robots monitoring prices and inventory outs in their store. They're using Eversight to make price changes by way of the relationship with Instacart as well. And so now they're attempting to try to give the customers the just walkout experience with the built-in screen right in front of them, like they said, like you said, Abhinav, for the retail media network to happen, which probably brings incremental revenue. So Dave Steck's probably laughing at me when I say this, but mazel tov, man. Like you guys are doing a great job. It's the point why I emphasized what I did with Manola was it's the right way to do this. You're making small incremental bets to understand the right steps going forward. The trick here, though, is unlike those other things I mentioned, Abhinav's dead right. This is the first one that requires the customer to do something different. And that's why I'm not solely bought in on this being the right solution in the long run. Is it that much better than a self-checkout experience? Is it better than the long run, computer vision assisted just walkout experiences? Those are the questions I have, but you can't learn that unless you do this. And final word.
Yes, no, I agree. That's so many questions, Dave. We're going to be locking you down. Grocery shop is just a few months away, and I fully expect to get he's got to sell us on this, Chris. But if anybody can, it's Dave.
Yeah. And I emailed him yesterday, but surprisingly, he didn't get back to me because he probably doesn't want to talk about this yet. But we'll catch up at some point.